Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I'm Richard and this is Lap of the World, your home for road trips and racetracks. We will have some of that #soon trademark copyright, but right now I'm just pleased that we have more or less turned the corner on our NSX Major Service series that we have been undergoing for the past 8 videos or so at this point. This is all still sponsored by ATR. NSX-parts.com for NSX parts, as you might imagine. Apologies, I'm not wearing my hat today, but spring has officially sprung in Tennessee, so it's 70 degrees outside. I would melt. So, as I get on towards reassembly now that we've done all the actual operations that we need to do for this job, save for, I'm waiting on the valve covers to come back from powder coater still. But aside from that, we've done everything we need to do to sort of begin to pursue reassembly, which leads me to kind of our short and, hopefully useful topic for today. In the inimitable words of Billy Madison, this is probably something that would have been good information yesterday, but we're going to talk about some torque wrenches because you need more than one for this job to do it properly. Everybody kind of has this typical, up to 150 pound general torque wrench. Probably use it for your lug nuts, other random stuff like that. The problem with this is that it doesn't go high enough or low enough to do or deal with most of the fasteners that we've undone and then had to redo so far. You will need at least probably 2 other torque wrenches to get this job done properly. The first of which is the micro torque wrench. I think we're dealing with, on like the timing covers and a few other things, you're dealing with torque specs as low as 9 foot-pounds. And to Honda Acura's credit, the shop manual does a really good job of parsing torque specs out for nearly every fastener on the car. If you haven't worked on a non-Honda Acura product and had to deal with, say, German or Italian shop manuals, you don't know how spoiled you are that there is a torque spec for everything. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, you need a torque wrench that will go down to 9 foot-pounds, which is something like 180 inch-pounds. This wrench measures in inch-pounds and Newton-meters. So 100 inch-pounds is, just going to guess here, that's like 10 to 12 Newton meters, give or take, equivalent there. So you're going to need something this small to deal with a little stuff, and even stuff that when it's when you get into like the 20-ish foot-pound, 20 to 30 foot-pound, I almost prefer to use the top end of this scale than using the very, very bottom of this scale, just because I feel like, and this could be a myth on me, but I feel like when you're in kind of the upper range, the meat of the tension on this, it's probably going to be a little more accurate than the loosest setting on the bigger wrench. I don't know if that's real or not, though. If anybody actually dabbles in real precision from a torque spec standpoint, please correct me in the comments or confirm that in the comments if you will. But, so yeah, you need a micro torque wrench to deal with the little tiny stuff so you don't strip out your aluminum bolt holes. You can get to almost every single fastener with a torque wrench if you're creative enough, have enough extensions. Don't forget, before you, probably the last thing you'll want to do is reaffix the engine mounts, because then you have the option to tilt or untilt the motor to be able to get a torque wrench into places and get to everything. But speaking of which, you will need the average size here for the engine mounts, because those are, the bigger fasteners range from 33 to I think 69, insert jokes here, foot-pounds. But then when you do need another torque wrench though, because obviously for this job, you don't have to undo the axle nut, but things like the axle nut and the crank pulley bolt on this car require a bit more torque than you can get out of your typical 150 foot-pound wrench. So for the in this job, the crank pulley bolt, you need to make sure that you own or can borrow a big enough wrench and generate enough leverage to get to the 181 foot-pounds that you need for that crank pulley bolt. And the crank pulley bolt isn't actually the most torque, isn't the highest torque fastener on the car. I still think that's probably the axle nuts, which go to 252 foot-pounds, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. I've done enough axle nuts, that's probably correct. But again, don't quote me or go, just run with what I say without checking on it first. It's in the manual. So again, order of operations wise, this probably should be like the first or second video in the series you watch, so you make sure you have everything well in advance. But if you didn't watch those earlier videos, then yeah, you need micro torque wrench, standard torque wrench, and BF torque wrench, just to make sure you have all your bases covered and can reassemble things in the most correct manner. So, yeah. Short video today. That's really all I had on the docket. Again, I'm kind of in the midst of reassembly. I've gotten some stuff put back together, waiting on the valve covers to come back before I can kind of go the rest of the way with it. Other things I'll be doing, I am going to do an oil change because I've had that system open, and I want to make sure that I have enough and make sure that any contaminants or anything that I cleaner that got sprayed around, any of that got into the system, I want to make sure that gets flushed out. Any debris that got into the filter pedestal, it was loose, I want to make sure that gets flushed out and removed with a filter. Things like that to kind of consider that you want to be doing in preparation to your first firing the car, because I need to have the valve covers on and everything else put back together so I can fire the car up, because I have to fire the car up to bleed the coolant, which is another one of the next videos that you're going to be seeing. So anyway, yeah, that's really all I had. I think we're going to be a short video today, but hey, stuff happens, schedules work out the way they do. I think that is useful information to have, and I won't keep you any longer. So thanks again for watching. I'm Richard. This is Lap of the World, and I will see you all in the next video, if not at the track.